Will the Disaster Recovery International Affairs and Planning Committee meeting of December 17th please come to order? The time was 1:36. It's now 1:37. If everyone could please silence their cell phones or other noise-making devices, that would help our cause. Members, in accordance with the Sunshine Law, if you are not in the council chamber, please identify by name who, if anyone is in the room, vehicle, or workspace with you today. Minors do not need to be identified. Also, please see the last page of the agenda for information on meeting connectivity. My name is Tamara Paulton, and I'll be your chair for today's DRIP committee meeting. I believe Committee Vice Chair Nohe Hodgins will be along shortly, as will Tom Cook. With us online, we have Councilmember Gabe Johnson. Aloha Winala.
Aloha, Chair, Council members, committee members. There's no testifiers here at the Alumni E-District office, and I'm alone on my side of the office and ready to work on your pertinent agenda. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. And also online, we have Council Chair Alex Lee.
Aloha Winala. I'm here in my workspace alone. Thank you.
Thank you. And next up, we have Councilmember Kiani Rollins Fernandez. Aloha Winala online.
Yes. Aloha Winala, Chair. I am at a restaurant, so it's a public space. So I'm not going to name everyone here on your side of the island.
In West Maui?
Yeah.
Is it Kalei Lunchbox?
Unfortunately, it's not.
Oh.
It's where you used to work, though. And there are currently no testifiers. Burger shop? Honoko House?
Oh. I used to work at Outback.
Oh, I didn't mean the restaurant. I mean as a lifeguard.
Oh, okay, got it.
Right? This is your stomping ground.
Yeah, Honokahua.
Honokahua. And there's no testifiers at multi-district office.
Thank you. Next up, we have Councilmember Shane Sinensi.
Aloha Winala, Chair. I'm here at my county office, but I should join you in a little bit. And there's no staff is next door and no testifiers in Hana, Chair.
Thank you. And we also have Committee Vice Chair Nohe Hodgins joining us at this time.
Aloha, Chair. Aloha, everyone.
Aloha. And I believe we'll see Councilmember Yukile Sugimura when she reaches her house. She said she was going to take the meeting from home. This meeting of the Disaster Recovery International Affairs and Planning Committee of the Maui County Council is located on the traditional Aina of Kanaka Oiwi, who never ceded their sovereignty to the United States. We recognize Her Majesty Queen Liliuokalani yielded the Hawaiian Kingdom to the U.S. in duress under threat of violence to avoid the bloodshed of her people. We further recognize that Hawaii remains an illegally occupied nation state by the U.S. as documented in a 2021 scholarly article for the National Lawyers Guild Review by Andrew Reed, adjunct professor of law at the University of Denver Stern College of Law. Generations of Kanaka Maoli and their knowledge systems have sustainably cared for Hawaii and continue to do so. We are grateful to occupy this space and learn the ways in which we can contribute. As a committee, we seek to support the varied strategies that Indigenous people of Hawaii are using to protect their land and their communities and commit to dedicating time and resources to working in solidarity. From the administration, we have Deputy Corporation Counsel Mike Hopper. From the Department of Water Supply, we have James Jensen, the Engineering Program Manager for DRIP 20. Also for DRIP 20 online, we have Department of Public Works Director Jordan Molina, Department of Planning Administrative Planning Officer Greg Post, Planning Program Administrator, Department of Planning Jackie Takakura, which would be for DRIP 9(3), as well as Karen Komkowicz, Long Range Planner, Department of Planning, DRIP 9(3). Committee staff, we have Yvette Boutillier, Senior Committee Secretary, Legislative Analysts, Jarrett Pasquale and Keone Hurdle, as well as Legislative Attorney Carla Nakata and Assistant Clerk Lay Dineen. At this time, we'd like to welcome Councilmember Tom Cook to the proceedings. Aloha Winala.
Aloha, good afternoon, Chair.
Our resource personnel for today, we have Kira Kahahani, Deputy Director, State Commission on Water Resource Management. Members, without objection, I would like to designate Deputy Director Kahahani as a resource person under Rule 18A of the Rules of the Council due to her knowledge in the area of water resources and her service on the Commission on Water Resource Management, and she is a Lahaina girl as well, so expertise on Lahaina. On the agenda, any objections to designating Ms. Kahahani as a resource person?
No objection.
Thank you. So we have two items on today's agenda, DRIP 20, Bill 161, 2025, imposing interim restrictions on new private swimming pools in the West Maui Community Plan area, and DRIP 9.3, South Maui Community Plan update process. We will take testimony after any opening remarks or presentations. So DRIP 20, Bill 161, 2025, imposing interim restrictions on new private swimming pools in the West Maui Community Plan area. The committee is in receipt of this ordinance. The purpose is to impose interim restrictions on the permitting and construction of new private swimming pools in the West Maui Community Plan area. There is also in your Granicus an amendment summary form dated December 11th, 2025 from myself with a proposed CD1 version of Bill 161, 2025. The proposed CD1 version incorporates non-substantive revisions and is approved as to form and legality by the Department of Corp Counsel. The committee may consider whether to recommend passage of Bill 161, 2025 on first reading with or without revisions. The committee may also consider the filing of Bill 161, 2025 and other related action. So this item was, I introduced this measure, and the reason was many people in the community, especially when attending CWER meetings, have requested this. Actually, they requested more than this, but we're starting with just the moratorium. They had requested an outright ban, but this is like a first step, I guess, in seeing how in the rebuild of West Maui that we have enough water for existing or formerly existing everything structures and some new housing as well before we start doing swimming pools. So this will impose a new private swimming pool moratorium in the West Maui Community Plan area until December 31st, 2030. It's applicable to new pools. The intent is to also allow for the reconstruction of swimming pools in the West Maui Community Plan area that were constructed before this ordinance's effective date, but destroyed by the wildfires or made unusable or whatever. And it addresses water shortages and conservation. As you may know, prior to the fires, our reliable use was around 4 million, but our actual use was closer to 5 million gallons a day. So that's another reason why this is being scheduled. It's my understanding that planning has a presentation, and then we'll go to CWERM, and Department of Water Supply said they don't really have opening comments, and we'll see if Public Works does.
Thank you, Chair. I believe we have a real brief PowerPoint presentation that I'll go through real quick. Next slide, please.
Awesome. Take it away, Mr. Post.
Thank you. You may recall that the council adopted Resolution 25-115 back in May, forwarding this to the planning commissions and the Board of Water Supply. The Board of Water Supply held their meetings on June 19th and July 17th. There's a letter within your packet supporting the proposed bill. They also recommended council consideration of additional water conservation measures. Within your packet is also a letter dated June 10th from the Director of Department of Water Supply talking about evaporation rates for swimming pools and recommending swimming pool covers, which I know was a topic of your discussion earlier this morning. Next slide, please. The proposed code amendment, as mentioned by the chair, would add a new chapter 19.98 to the Maui County Code, restricting construction of new swimming pools in West Maui Community Plan area only for a limited duration. And that duration, as identified within the resolution that was adopted by council in May 16th, was the duration would be until one or more of three conditions, there are more water resource conditions are met, or the sooner of December 31st, 2028, whichever is sooner. The ordinance also includes various exemptions for applications that were either complete or permit issued prior to the ordinance, any CC&Rs that permitted in a swimming pool that was not yet constructed, and repairs and maintenance of existing pools as well as public pools. Those were all exempted. There's a penalty section also that was proposed with an enforcement mechanism. Next slide, please. The department, when it received the bill, reviewed it, analyzed it, and prepared a report to the planning commissions, which is attached to your packet. The department basically supports water conservation efforts. We believe that the effort is consistent with the general plan, specifically when it talks about management of water resources. There's a list of general plan policies that's attached to your packet that we believe apply to this request. However, the department believes this is really a policy matter up to the council of whether or not you want to restrict private property rights in favor of water conservation. So the department doesn't really have a particular position on this bill. The department, however, did have some minor modifications that it was recommending. One, the bill structure, there were two different locations where it talked about duration, and we wanted to just combine those two. Very minor recommended change. Also recommended removing the enforcement section, as that already is addressed through Maui County Code. We then recommended to the Planning Commission that they look at discussing other water conservation measures that they would like to put forward to the council, such as swimming pool covers or other ideas that they may have. And then we also recommended a change in the location of the proposed ordinance and not have it in Title 19, but perhaps be in Title 16 or Title 14. Title 16 is our building permit or building code section. We felt that applicants for new swimming pools first go to the building department or DSA and obtain their permit. It would be good to stop that at that time instead of being routed to the Planning Commission and being told, sorry, you can't do that at a later date. Or perhaps in Title 14, as you know, there's a water conservation section within Title 14. Specifically, Title 14, there are those provisions within the proposed ordinance that talk about the duration of this ordinance is would end when one of three different scenarios, water resource scenarios, is implemented. The planning department's really not able to opine upon whether any of those conditions are met. It's really Department of Water Resources, and so we thought it would be more appropriate to have this in Title 14. Also, of course, when this ordinance does need to be repealed, if it is in Title 19, we'll have to go back to the planning commissions and then take it back out again. So we were recommending to the planning commission either be in Title 16 or Title 14. Although both of those department heads within Department of Public Works and Department of Water Resources recommended that it remain in Title 19. So next slide, please. The Maui Planning Commission then heard the item in September of 2025 regarding the department's recommendation regarding combining the duration points. They agreed to that and recommended that the council do that. The Planning Commission also recommended that the duration requirement be revised so it expires December 31st, 2030 instead of December 31st, 2028, and that all conditions of the water resources be satisfied. The ASF that's before you implements that recommendation by the Planning Commission. Number two, the Planning Commission supported the department's recommendation to remove section 1998-070, which was the penalty section. And the ASF that's before you today also implements that Planning Commission recommendation. Third, the Planning Commission did urge the council to consider additional water conservation measures, swimming pool covers, irrigation restriction, using gray water for irrigation, using native plants, and urge the council to advance the water conservation bill being proposed by the Department of Water Supply. So that was obviously a significant discussion that you had this morning. So I believe that's kind of implementing the Planning Commission's recommendations there. And finally, the Planning Commission supported the department's recommendation that the council consider placing the ordinance in another title, and they recommended Title 16. And that concludes my presentation. Hopefully I can answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. If members can write down any questions, we'll move on to Deputy Director Kahahani. Any opening comments? I know that you support further conservation efforts, and I'm not sure if you were able to watch this morning's meeting, but we did pass out a little bit amended for the better water conservation bill this morning.
Aloha Awinala. Deputy Director Kira Kahahane, Commission on Water Resource Management, and thank you so much for having me here today. I was not able to attend this morning's meeting, but I am very happy to hear that the other water conservation ordinance was passed out. On the seaworm side, as our testimony indicates, we're aware that many regions across our entire state, and particularly on Maui, are suffering from drought and have been for quite some time. And this has become particularly urgent in places like West Maui. So the Commission really appreciates the intent of this bill and others like it to ensure conservation and the responsible use of Maui's water resources. And we do encourage this body to continue considering additional measures related to water conservation. While the Commission hasn't voted on specific methods to be implemented to conserve water, we support the conservation of water as a whole, and we do appreciate this council taking up these issues and making policy determinations regarding the best ways to ensure the conservation of our wai. So that concludes my remarks, but I'm available if you have any questions. Mahalo.
Thank you so much. And Department of Water Supply, you're good, or did you have anything that you would like to add, Mr. Jensen?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. The department's position has been, we're echoing the statements of the others so far, very supportive of conservation, and really pleased with the discussion this morning on the conservation ordinance. So yeah, nothing further to add. Thank you.
Thank you. Director Molina, are you available online? Any comments as to like if you wanted in Title 16 or opening comments?
Yeah, thank you. Jordan Molina, the Director with Public Works. Just addressing the appropriate location of the ordinance. You know, the preamble of the ordinance identifies this as a land use regulation, which I think is appropriate, and which we have set up Title 19 to be that land use regulation in which the charter guides how we implement land use regulations. The purpose of the building code is to provide minimum requirements to safeguard the public health and safety and general welfare of occupants of new building and existing buildings and structures. This matter is not a public health and safety issue when it comes to occupancy of buildings. So I would not say that it's an appropriate location in Title 16 for that reason. And that's the only point I wanted to make. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Director Molina. Okay, we will now move on to public testimony for DRIP 20. Written testimony is encouraged and can be submitted via the e-comment link at mauicounty.us/agendas. Testifiers wanting to provide oral testimony or verbal testimony should join the online meeting via the Microsoft Teams link printed on today's agenda or call in to the phone number, which is also on today's agenda. For individuals wishing to testify via Teams, please raise your hand by clicking on the raise your hand button near the top right of your screen. For those calling in, please follow the prompts via phone. Staff will add names to the testifier list in the order testifiers sign up or raise their hands. For those on Teams, staff will lower your hand once your name is added. Staff will then call the name you're logged in under, or the last 4 digits of your phone number when it's your time to testify. At that time, staff will also enable your microphone and video. Please ensure your name on Microsoft Teams appears as the name you prefer to be referred to as, or as anonymous if you wish to testify anonymously. If you are in person, please notify staff that you would like to testify anonymously. Otherwise, please state your name for the record at the beginning of your testimony. Oral testimony is limited to 3 minutes and must pertain to the agenda item that we are discussing. If you are still testifying beyond that time, I will kindly ask you to complete your testimony. Once you are done testifying, or if you do not wish to testify, you can view the meeting on Akaku Channel 53, Facebook Live, or the mauicounty.us/agendas. At this time, we will call on testifiers wishing to testify on agenda item DRIP 20.
Thank you, Chair. First testifier is Greg Rilski in the council chamber, to be followed by Paele Kiakona.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, committee. This is my first time here at the DRIP committee, so it's very exciting to be chaired by my council member. So as a Lahaina resident, as a current Kilohana resident, built by Army Corps, managed by FEMA for the next few weeks anyway, one of the reasons why Kilohana could even be built was because everything else was gone. So we had the water to build that, and that was a temporary known because of the water issue. We've had water issues for a long time, right? We have other developments on the west side that cannot be built because of the water issue. This is a very minor inconvenience for only new pools. You know, there are ways to get around it. There's the 3 conditions, and if they're all met, this doesn't have to go as long as it does. So if we get water, if we find another water source, if the county can somehow acquire additional water sources, then this is a non-issue, and we've solved the problem. So I encourage everyone to say yes, and I thank you very much.
Thank you. Members, any questions for Greg? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Chair. The final individual signed up is Paele Kiakona on Teams.
Go ahead.
Can you folks hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Aloha Chair, aloha Council, mahalo for opportunity to speak again. Of course, I am in full support of this measure for all of the reasons that you folks have heard multiple times for months on end already related to water, but also just relating it to the discussion earlier today. When there was a lot of agreement of the importance of water conservation, and there was definitely a lot of questions and concerns about how swimming pools would be covered, how would we enforce that, when would they need to be enforced. So in other words, just a lot of retrofitting to all of the existing swimming pools. So the way that I see this bill and this measure is, you know, an opportunity and a potential to alleviate all of that stress in the future. You know, like we're trying to address the issues now without adding more to our plate. Also, if any of you have ever driven through Lahaina lately, other than Councilmember Alton, you will see that a lot of the homes being rebuilt back now are a lot bigger than they were previously, which is nothing wrong with that. But I do suspect if we continue on that track that West Maui's water usage will be a lot higher once Lahaina is rebuilt, including all of the new developments in queue, right? We have Pulelehua, and then even building back Kamehameha III with potential residential homes there. The water consumption and water usage could be a lot higher than that. So I see this as a measure to make sure that we're not shooting ourselves in the foot further down the line. And a potential proposal, just to maybe alleviate so that there's some give and take from both sides, that if something like this is in fact implemented and, you know, somebody really wants to rebuild back or build a swimming pool, given that swimming pools, which are a non-essential use of water, put an extra strain on our water resource, any new swimming pools be required to pay a specific amount to the county so that the county can now utilize that money to invest in infrastructure related to water, like infrastructure, so we can have a potential dual meter system in homes so that we have the option of utilizing R1 water on residential properties. I know currently there are a lot of laws that do not allow that, especially through the Department of Health, but if all of those things are ironed out, this could be that potential opportunity for any new use or new swimming pools. So full support. Mahalo, Councilmember Paulton, for introducing this, and that concludes my testimony. Mahalo.
Thank you. Members, any clarifying questions for the testifier? I just had one, Front Street Apartments wants to build back with another 100 units. Like, those are the types of things that you're talking about on the build back, making sure that we have enough water for.
Yeah, because there will be, for sure, new developments that were not there before the 2023 wildfires. So before we're putting ourselves in a situation where now we don't have enough water to let a resident build back because we don't, a resident build back that may have lost their home due to the fire, now they're having to be put on hold because we allowed a few too many swimming pools. So I just want to make sure that our residents are taken care of before we start using our resource as a luxury thing.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions, thank you for your testimony.
Chair, the next testifier is Jim Langford, to be followed by Kai Nishiki.
Hi, aloha. Building off of the last presenter points, the order of operation when calculating resources tends to go back to life, liberty, and then pursuing happiness. So when calculating numbers like an insurance company, they would calculate, all of this water has to go back to replace the life that was lost or the structures that were lost first, so that the people can even have liberty to pursue the luxury water needs. So technology exists that allows a zero impact for folks that want to have a luxury appliance as such, using automatic or atmospheric water generation systems, while a little pricey, does local. It really is a way of shifting the burden off of the county water system and onto systems that are required to perpetuate themselves by definition with their fiduciary responsibilities. So engaging with with that type of technology in a hotel zone might free up the residential zones to have pools. And then, so that type of logical thinking can allow you guys the wiggle room that you need to converse with the different folks in I guess the proper word would be all the stakeholders and shareholders in play. That's my 2 cents. And guess what? I put some stuff on Facebook to support all that logic if you guys want to read it. And I wrote the grant, the CDBG grants to cover the pool covers potentially, so that those folks don't have to worry about buying them. Boom, Kananis.
Thank you, members. Any questions for the testifier? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony. Next, we have.
The next testifier is Kai Nishiki on Teams.
Aloha Committee, Chair, and members. Thank you to Councilmember Paulton and this body for taking up this important piece of legislation. In the middle of an extreme drought, we cannot really justify wasting any amount of our precious water for luxury pools while our families wait for housing. And every single drop counts, like all of the conservation campaigns, put out there. So any amount that we can save is worth it. And it's not just, symbolic. It's a practical way to provide for the greatest need in West Maui, which is new, permanently affordable housing. And even Commission on Water Resource Management has shown through data and advised Maui County that enforcing conservation measures could free up enough supply for new responsibly developed affordable housing in West Maui. So if we're serious about solving our housing crisis, we must start by valuing water as the lifeline that it is. And so full support for this proposal. And while pool covers sound like a good mitigation measure, I think that we need to acknowledge that most people who get pools also value them for their aesthetic value. And so putting a cover on it is not ideal, to look at. And so I really doubt that if there was a requirement for pool covers, that it would be taken seriously by homeowners, and there certainly won't be like the pool cover police going around to check on these things. So, I think sometimes we have to not look for the mitigation and just say like, hey, this is what's important, conserving water so that we can prioritize community need. So mahalo for considering that this legislation and that pool covers sound good, but likely people won't use them. Mahalo.
Thank you. Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Chair, that's currently all the individuals signed up to testify. If anyone would like to testify, please come up to the podium.
Hello, this is J.C. Law from Kula Waiako Ahupua'a. Chair Paulton, thank you for bringing this to our attention, and Merry Christmas and all that stuff. I'm wondering, I know we're not really supposed to ask questions, but sometimes in your committee, you're a little bit more lenient for the rules. I was wondering.
We prefer the term cool.
Okay, I don't know how to say that in Hawaiian, but I'll learn. I think it's Pono. So, what year are you born? Okay, you don't have to answer that. I know you're married already, so whatever. Okay, so the swimming pools. If anybody from Hawaii that's not familiar, they're probably like, why would you need a swimming pool when you're surrounded by the Pacific Ocean? But then when you get here, you kind of figure it out, because we have some really good county pools. Thank you, Parks and Recs Department. And then you think about, when I think about Lahaina, I'm from Kula, and I think, well, all these rich people in Lahaina have swimming pools, and then that's why you have to participate in meetings and not keep yourself in a silo, because of the heard you say the Front Street Apartments was like to have a pool. And then I thought, okay, yeah, there are some apartment, like shared pools, so they're not all just rich people that own their private pools and stuff. So I'm pretty sure you got this covered. There's a thing in, you probably have something in there about how many people are going to use the pool. And then I'm kind of stalling. I'm hoping Yuki Lei Sugimura is going to come on there, but she's probably still taking her nap. So thank you for that little extra break there after lunch, because a lot of people are napping. And so we had a fire up in Kula too, and I know this is about Lahaina pools, but I was wondering, were there any houses that had swimming pools up there that got destroyed?
Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Chair, I think I saw one more individual that wanted to testify. No? Yes?
Second one. Okay. 3 minutes. Yeah. I think he wants to testify on the second item.
Okay, then Chair will provide a last call for oral testimony. If anyone else would like to testify, please come up to the podium or raise your hand on Teams if you would like to testify. And we'll provide a brief countdown. The count is 3, 2, 1. Seeing none, Chair, no one has indicated that they wish to testify.
Thank you, staff. Members, without objection, I will now close public testimony on the first item. Thank you. We have all the resources. We have Member Sinensi in the chamber now. And I would like to propose a first round with 3 minutes each member to any of the resources previously stated, and then a second round as needed by raised hands. So first round, 3 minutes, second round, however long you need by raised hand. And we can start with Committee Vice Chair Uu Hodgins for your opportunity. The resources that we have are Mr. Hopper, Mr. Jensen, Director Molina, Mr. Post, and Ms. Kahahani.
Thank you, Chair. So I guess just to clarify, even though I've read it, but I'm going to say it out loud anyway. This is just for the West Maui area until 2030, or these 3 conditions can be completed. But if you had an existing pool, you can build back.
Correct.
So all new pools
Correct.
have a moratorium until 2030.
If they've already received their permit to build it, they can go ahead if that happened before the second reading of this ordinance.
Okay. Other than that, I don't have any questions. I mean, I just wanted to say that out loud for my own benefit. Thank you.
Sure. And if I may, we were considering amending proposed section 19.98.050D to clarify by inserting repairs to reconstruction and maintenance of a private swimming pool, just to make it crystal clear. Yeah. I don't think that is in the ASF, but the ASF would be a substitution because it's approved as to form and legality. Okay, so that concludes Member Uu Hodgins. I'll go to Member Sinensi and then back down this way.
Thank you, Chair. And that was my question too. This is just an interim, and as Member Hodgins said, it doesn't go into effect or it's to 2030. It goes into effect
2030 unless all 3 of the conditions in 98.040 are met, whichever comes first.
Yep. Okay. Thank you for that. And right, I can understand the dire need in the rebuild. As a lot of the testifiers said, we're gonna need, water resources. I guess my question for Mr. Hopper would be, did he sign off on the bill?
The ASF is signed off.
Oh, the ASF
That's why
is
we're
signed
gonna substitute it.
Okay.
Substitute the bill for a signed bill.
And so, if he had any, we're okay with pursuing this.
Yes, Chair, I didn't see an issue with, it basically is eliminating swimming pools as a new use. I don't think there would be a legal entitlement or like a constitutional right to own a swimming pool or anything like that. Any issues with vested rights obtained potentially through things that were already permitted but destroyed, I think are, and I'm not saying there would be any because I don't necessarily agree that there would be anything like that, but since this only applies prospectively and exempts those who had pools or reconstructing pools as long as they were lawfully permitted, I didn't really see an issue there. It's more of a policy issue of, is a swimming pool a land use that, that is something, you know, it's generally listed as an accessory use, I think, in most areas. Is that a use that, or accessory use that the council wants to allow to continue or not? And it can say certainly for, you know, a 5-year period of time or until other things happen, that there can be no new pools. I think that's something within the council's policy discretion to decide, and certainly given the unique situation in Lahaina, I don't want to say unique, but particular situation in Lahaina as far as, you know, water resources, I think that there's certainly justification for that.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Member Cook?
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, the fact that it's limited to West Maui, that has the seaworm oversight, and that it's just for new pools, I could support it. I wouldn't support it island-wide. I'm curious, water from the Department of Water Supply. I've read different things about about how much swimming pools use on an ongoing basis. Like, I believe the initial filling, and I've talked to pool people, like, well, they don't change the water except for every couple of years if needed. But the evaporation rate is actually the use, the continued water use. Is that, can you shed any light to that?
Yeah, mahalo for the question, Councilmember Cook. So, yeah, the water use, the average daily use associated with swimming pools comes in a couple of ways. Evaporative loss is the big one. Evaporative loss can vary depending on where you are on the island, depending on, you know, average, you know, humidity and heat. So, of course, the hotter it is, and the drier it is, the greater those evaporative losses. Those losses will happen. That's probably the greatest water cost that we would see with pools. Most of that cost can be mitigated with covers. And then the other cost is change out. And how often that change out happens, the greater the frequency of the change outs, the higher the cost, the more someone stretches out that frequency of change out, you know, they can drive down that average daily usage. But, and of course, those numbers all vary depending on the pool's geometry. But yes, those are costs. Evaporative loss does tend to be the greater of the two. Yes.
Thank you. I know from my experience building this stuff or contracting them, infinity edges have like multiplier effect for the evaporation, and a regular pool, this just not having that aspect of it, it can be anywhere minimum to high winds, very hot days, increasing more. So I don't necessarily totally agree with the water conservation aspect of it, but I'm supportive of the bill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Member Rollins Fernandez, did you want an opportunity?
Well, hello, Chair. I think I'm good at this moment, but I may have questions after. I'll let you know if I have questions. Well, hello,
Thank you. Member Johnson?
Thank you, Chair. Just a quick question in regards to the boundaries of the West Maui community plan and everything. That, you know, when I look up on the maps, sometimes I can make sense of them, but sometimes they're pretty complicated. This bill, I guess I'm just concerned if there's any kind of weird exceptions where, like, maybe this H2 or this condominiums. I want to make sure that everything's inside the district, and there's nothing on the border that in a condo, like, well, this half says can and this half says, you know, there's a moratorium. When I was looking over the maps, I didn't see anything like that, but I figured I'd reach out to the department. There's no kind of map or boundary area that's going to put any kind of complications on this. Everything's inside the zone that we're talking about. There's nobody that's half and half on anything. You understand my question? That's really where I'm going with it, Department. Mr. Post, if you're available.
Go ahead, Mr. Post.
Yes, thank you for the question. I'm not aware of anything in particular. I mean, I haven't looked at the boundary and see if it bisects any particular properties, but I can't think of anything offhand, just knowing it in the back of my head, but I can look that up and see if there's any issues. I think we'd have to deal with that as they come along, but I'm not familiar with any significant issues related to that.
Yeah, I didn't see any either, Mr. Post, but, I just defer to the department. I wanted to make sure, but, okay. That was my, the other questions were answered already, and I appreciate your time. Thank you, Chair.
Sure thing, and I just want to point out on page 3, 19.98.050C, that the permitting and construction of a private swimming pool when a property's covenants, conditions, and restrictions, if any, explicitly allowed the swimming pool before the effective date of the ordinance establishing this chapter is exempt from this chapter. And from what I understand, it's kind of like in the Ukumehame area on the south side and more the Kahakuloa side area on the north side for our community plan. And I think we'll be good, as Mr. Post said.
Great. Thanks for the info. Thank you, Chair.
Sure. Councilmember Lee?
Thank you. No questions.
Okay, and Mr. Jensen, my question would be for you, can you remind us what our reliable capacity was pre-fire and what our actual usage was pre-fire?
I'm gonna, thank you for the question. I'm gonna try to come with those off the top of my head. I know that the ratio is that we're at about 141%. Our current demand is about 141% of reliable capacity. I thought what you had said earlier was approximately correct. We're around, the demand was about 5.5, somewhere in there, and the reliable capacity was around 4.5. But yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't bring those numbers. Don't have them handy. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. First Deputy Kahahani, are you aware of what the reliable yield and the demand was pre-fire?
I do apologize. I don't have that information for you. I would defer to the Department of Water Supply.
Okay, and then I guess then this would be for the Department of Water Supply. How are you tracking, we see, like Mr. Kiakona had said, I also am seeing many units in the Wahikuli area, Lahaina Luna area, building back bigger, building back like with ADUs and multiple homes on one lot. And then like, we do know that Front Street Apartments is gonna try to add another story and another 100 units. I believe there's proposed housing around where King Kamehameha III Elementary School will be relocated to. So how are you tracking, like if we were already 141% above demand of reliable capacity, how are you tracking that we're not exceeding that 141%?
Yep, thank you for the question. So generally speaking, we look at their meter size, right? That's a methodology that's changing, which is good. If an applicant's coming in to construct something that is within the capacity of their existing meter, then we don't see those applications. Those are handled through the Resiliency Center, through Four Leaf, and they're doing a great job on that. So if folks are building within their capacity, they're good. We do see some of these, we do see the larger, rebuilds, and some of them may be eligible for, going from a 5/8 to a 3/4 inch meter and things like that. But right now, we're looking at, the goal is to repopulate the burn zone, and we're tracking, what's that, I guess it's convergence of the existing use that was in the burn zone is gone, and now it's coming back. So we're, as we start to approach those limits, we're looking at, permits are issued, that usage converts from, from that projected use into actual use. It's a process that just, it's hard to describe. It's as the burn zone repopulates and we start to see that use come back, we'll be approaching that max reliable capacity but it's really based on what water people actually end up using. So, like we have these standards for saying, hey, if you're going to come in and build a single family house, we predict that you're going to use 600 gallons a day. And we are looking at revising that number downward based on, current data. But when they actually move in, that allocation or that prediction of use then turns into actual use in our pumpage numbers. So it's kind of like a never-ending cycle of looking at the actual pumpage numbers and then looking at who's asking for water and comparing, do we have any? So right now, we're not issuing new services.
It kind of sounds like it's not exact until you see.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. There was, and I don't have very many examples off the top of my head, but there was a project, when we were developing the new methodology, there was a project that's a rebuild. It's, I think, 60 one bed, one bath townhomes or something like that. And we looked at their historic usage, and then we compared that with what the new methodology would predict their usage to be, and they were approximately equal. I think the methodology predicted 9,000 gallons a day, and then their actual usage was around 8,900. So we said, okay, that's about right. So we went ahead and that project was able to move forward. But yes, it is an inexact science to say the least.
Thank you. If I still have more time, my next question would be for First Deputy Kahahani. On the Seaworm, do they prioritize municipal uses or it's just municipal uses?
If I could ask a clarifying question, is this for the water use permitting process?
Yeah, the WUPA process.
Yeah, so it's been done differently in different periods. In the past, municipal has just been considered municipal without much differentiation between municipal uses. There is a desire to have a prioritization of municipal uses on the system, and we will likely answer that question one way or another during the water use permitting process, but we haven't got to that point yet.
Okay, thank you. I'm done with my questions for the first round. Does anyone have a need for a second round? All right. Chair's recommendation is to pass Bill 161, 2025 out of committee and onto first reading. And I will entertain a motion to recommend the passage of Bill 161.
So moved.
Second.
Moved.
Moved by Member Hodgins, second by Member Sinensi. The chair will also entertain a motion to substitute Bill 161 with the proposed CD1 version dated December 11th, 2025, which is Granicus item number 7.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Member Hodgins, second by Member Sinensi. So the proposed CD1 version incorporates non-substantive revisions for clarity, consistency, and style, is approved as to form and legality by the Department of Corporation Counsel. it seemed as though there was support to amend section 19.98.050D on exemptions to insert repairs to reconstruction and maintenance of a private swimming pool. Is that, somebody want to make that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Member Hodgins, second by Member Sinensi, and this is just clarification because, you know, the title of the bill itself does say a bill for an ordinance imposing interim restrictions on new private swimming pools in the West Maui Community Plan area. So any discussion on that amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor on the amendment, raise your hand and say aye.
Chair, I'm seeing 7 ayes, 0 noes, 1 excused. Member Sukimura, motion passes. You're back to the motion to substitute as amended.
Thank you. Any discussion on the motion to substitute as amended? Seeing none, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Chair, 7 ayes, 0 noes, 1 excused. Member Sukimura, motion passes.
Thank you. Back to the main motion as amended. All those in favor, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
Chair, once again, 7 ayes, 0 noes, 1 excused. Member Sukimura, motion passes.
Great job, folks. 1 hour. And if there's no objection, thank you to all of our resources. Would anyone care to have a 10-minute pause for the cause, recess? Okay, we'll come back at 2. I'm feeling generous. Let's come back at 2:45. Recess till 2:45. Will the Disaster Recovery, International Affairs and Planning Committee return to order? The time is now 2:52, and we're on DRIP 9:3, the South Maui Community Plan Update Process. Under Rule 7B of the Rules of the Council, the committee intends to discuss the decennial community plan review process under Chapter 2.80B Maui County Code for the South Maui Community Plan Update, including scheduling considerations. The committee may discuss plans for the South Maui Community Plan Update and other related matters. No legislative action will be taken. I had to schedule this item last week because of posting requirements. And it wasn't until yesterday I knew what the update would be. We had a big collaboration of the minds with folks from the planning department, folks from the Department of OEB Resources, folks from management, folks from the mayor's office, and folks from Corp Council, as well as myself and committee staff. And so basically, ultimately, the update is that we will be bouncing the South Maui Community Plan back to the planning department to iron out some of the discrepancies that our staff encountered. And so we'll be putting forward and extending RESO in the future from this past March, when it was last extended, to this coming June in 2026. Not to say that they need to wait until June 2026, but that's where we'll extend it to. If it's done earlier, it's done earlier. But we do have budget at the end of March through April. We have potentially HSAC and the WEIR conference in the beginning of May. So we thought June might be a good date to extend it to. Not that they need to take all that time, but we likely wouldn't take it up prior to that anyway, so no sense make them rush. And that is my opening comments. And we do have in the gallery Director Blystone, Planning Program Administrator Jackie Takakura, and Long Range Planner Karen Komkowicz, if you have questions at that time. But that's the basic update. If we weren't gonna go forward, I was gonna set the schedule, but that's not gonna happen. So at this time, we can take public testimony, and then I'll open up the floor for questions if there are questions from the members to our resources.
Thank you, Chair. We currently have one individual, His Highness Ka'ua, signed up to testify.
All the same rules apply from the first item.
First of all, Representative Sovereign.
Oh, if you can speak into the mic so that they can hear you.
As a representative, sovereign servant of the Almighty, Father, brother, King of all kings, one, ancestors, Queen Ikulani and our kings from before, it is their due time that we as descendants follow through in order. And through his words, listening and doing. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. Because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires, Jesus Christ. Therefore, get rid of all moral filth and the evil that is so prevalent, and humbly accept the word planted in you. And I'm looking at you. It's very crucial, you, because he loves you. take notes. Do not merely listen to the word and so deceive yourself. Do what it says. Anyone who listens to the word but does not do what it says is like someone who looks at his face in the mirror and after looking at himself goes away and immediately forgets what he looks like. But whoever looks intently into the perfect law that gives freedom and continues in it, not forgetting what they have heard, but doing it, they will be blessed in what they do. And I promise you that. He is awesome. Those who consider themselves religious and yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues deceive themselves. And that's daily murder. And their religion is ruthless. Ruthless. Religion that God our Father accepts as pure I am, and faultless in this. To look after our orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep ones from being polluted by the world. And that's been happening since 1893, which we call this murder, and we'll defend it and cause it that. Favoritism, forbidden. My brothers and sisters, believers of our glorious Lord Jesus Christ.
Thank you,
must
His
not show
Highness,
favoritism
for your testimony.
supposed to a man comes into
If
your
you can wrap it up.
wearing. I'm not done yet.
I know, but the time is up, that's why.
I'm talking His word. Therefore, you guys will listen.
You can write it down and give it to us. Or you
I
can
like
give
to
us
better-
your notes.
Huh?
You can give us your notes and we'll read
I'm
it.
not good at writing yet. I
Huh?
can write. The part is, I'm with brothers and sisters.
Members, are there any questions for His Highness? Thank you so much for your testimony. It was really good to hear the word.
Well, I gotta end with this then. It goes to Isaiah 41:10, 41. And I'll end with this. The helper of Israel, past, present, and future. Kingdom, sovereign nation of God. Seed of hope.
Thank
Be
you.
silent before
Thank
me,
you so much.
you islands.
We'll look that up, Isaiah
Let the nations
41:10.
renew their strength. Let
Call a
them come
quick
forward and
recess
speak. Let us
to
meet
return
together
at
the
3:02.
place of judgment.
Thank you for that brief recess. Will the DRIP committee return to order? The time is now 3:02. Members, I would like to open the floor for discussion. I propose as many rounds of
Chair.
questions.
Sorry, we still have more testifiers signed up.
Sorry, okay.
Sorry.
Next testifier.
The next testifier signed up is Mike Moran on Teams. Mr. Moran, you're unmuted on our end.
Aloha, Chair.
Aloha,
Mike
Mr. Moran.
I don't, somebody's very wise and they're not allowing my camera to operate, so you don't have to look at me, you just have to listen. I'll be brief. I have participated right from the get-go on our update to our community plan by attending the outreach meetings. I was part of the Alakai, and I was the 13th member of the 13 CPAC group. So a little bit disappointed that we have one more hiccup before we're starting this process, but completely understandable and better to get it right than get it quick and correct. So we look forward to it coming and want to express my holiday greetings to all of you for all the work you do, continue to do on a daily basis. So thank you for the opportunity to testify and look forward to hearing what's happening, but really look forward to getting started next year. Mahalo.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moran, for your service and your dedication to not only Kihei, but all of Maui County. Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Thank you, Chair. I believe the gentleman from Waiakua would like to testify.
J.C. Long from Waiakua, Ahupua'a, Kulaoka. Thank you, Mr. Moran, for keeping track down there. On the Makai side, Kula is actually Kulakai and then Kulaoka goes down, and then I don't know when they got separated. I mentioned this before on the community plan. Sometimes they don't match the Royal House of Hawaii Royal Patent Plan, so that was my main thing that I wanted to see in all of the plans of Hawaii is the Royal Patent, and I think maybe the Royal House of Hawaii might have gone to Vegas for vacation, but and when he said 13, I don't think that's like a Hawaiian superstition and all, but also 13 is the number of the Kula fire truck, and yeah. So speaking of Kula, so I just would like to see that in there. The Ahupua'a, and I know you're on that too, but Chair Paulton is the Royal Patent stuff. So thank you for working for the county, everybody. And thank you for your time. I saved the rest of it for the Hawaiians.
Thank you. Members, any questions for the testifier? Seeing none, thank you for your testimony.
Chair, that's currently all the individuals signed up to testify. If anyone would like to testify in the audience or on Teams, please come up to the mic and begin your testimony or use the raise your hand function on Teams. This is a brief countdown. The count is 3, 2, 1. Chair, seeing no one has indicated that they wish to testify.
Thank you, members. Any objection to closing public testimony and entering any written testimony into the record? Awesome. I would like to open the floor for discussion. I propose as many rounds of questions as you need. Each member will have as much time as you need. But please be considerate of your fellow members and try not to hog all the questions. We do have resources of Corp Council and the planning folks in the gallery. I'll start off with Member U'u Hodgins. Any questions?
Thank you, Chair. I had the opportunity to speak to you yesterday, so you answered all of my questions I might have had today. So for right now, I have no questions. Thank you.
Okay. Member Cook, as the area representative, any questions?
Thank you, Chair. I'm looking forward to hearing the plan. I would although I don't like it delayed, I think it's prudent because we want it to come to us, Corp Council, planning, everybody being in alignment so that we can have a comprehensive review and meeting with the community, getting their input. So I don't have any questions right now, just hopeful that we can expeditiously hear this after budget or whatnot.
Yeah, and if it does go into June, we may not have this chamber, but that could work out good for South Maui if we have it in South Maui. We are requesting the possibility of Starlinks, and maybe we can have it at Kihei Community Center or the Malcolm Center, depending on the size needed or the availability. But I guess, you know, if the downside is that we're getting it later, the upside is we may be hearing a lot of it in South Maui. And so we'll need your advice on good places to eat, probably.
I think Malcolm Center is excellent, depending upon the size. We've had town hall meetings with like 60 people, and I think you could even have a few more in there. They have pretty decent internet and interconnectivity. And my office is right next to it, so I think it's a great spot. I think that depending upon how many people signed up, if it was in excess of that, it would be prudent to have it maybe in the Kihei Community Center. I don't know about the new Kihei Gym. That might be, the acoustics might be better. The challenge with Kihei Community Center is the acoustics is pretty poor. So that's my two. Also, there's the Hagai Institute, which has some epic meeting rooms, but I don't know what the interrelationship with state, county, temporary uses, but they have some really cool meeting rooms.
We'll potentially leave that up to smarter people than us, what they can come up with. But hoping it's not just all bad news, maybe that can be an upside. Then I guess I'll continue. Member Rollins Fernandez, did you have any questions? If you're on. Or you can break in if you had questions. Member Johnson, any questions?
Thank you, Chair. No questions at the time. Looking forward to do the work. Thank you.
Member Lee, any questions?
I just want to let you know that I asked David to make sure that the notification was sent to the planning department and returning all the submittals we received. And he said that Carla will be working on that today, right, Carla? So I do have a question for Anna or Jackie Takakura.
Okay, we have Jackie Takakura here, and she'll be coming up to the podium to answer your question.
Hello, Chair Lee, I'm here. Thank you.
I was just wondering if you were aware of all the deficiencies, or did you see those deficiencies as items that we could have continued to work on as we went through the process?
So one of the bigger ones that came up in conversation was the collaboration with the Department of OEV Resources. We had been working with them, and as soon as they had some staff, but keep in mind the South Maui Community Plan was already kind of far along in the process. So we did collaborate with them to the extent we could, and given their limitations too. Of course, there could be more, and that's what we're going to work on given this time extension. Some of the other ones, I think all we need to do is just provide some clarity on where they are in the plan document. For example, there are some requirements in 280B 070E, and so we have them, but I agree, it's not clear where they are, so we need to identify those things. So a lot of these things, I think it's just a matter of us adding some clarity on where they are. So I think we'll be all right with these items. We did try to model it. I mean, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You're trying to model it, what?
Well, we looked at West Maui Community Plan, and we've looked at others, plan documents from the past and tried to model it on those, but more clarity is always better. So, this is what we'll do moving forward.
Okay, since you had practice with West Maui, how long did it take you to complete the package for submittal to the council?
You mean regarding West Maui Community Plan?
Yeah, because we already did that one.
Yes.
Actually,
Actually,
how long did it take South Maui?
For West Maui, I was in zoning at the time, so I'm not sure, but Kate might have a better idea. For South Maui, we took a couple of months collecting, gathering all the information from the Maui Planning Commission meetings and checking it. And then, normally when we get an ordinance, we send it for form and legality to Corporation Council. So we did that as a standard practice. And so that took a lot of time too. So probably from May till last month to put everything together for the South Maui Community Plan.
Charlie, if I can add some clarity as well, they started work on the South Maui, not Ms. Takakura, a totally different team started work on the South Maui Community Plan in 2020. And the Department of OEV Resources only came online on July 1st, 2024 with the director, the deputy director, and an intern. So they were 4 years in when OEV Resources came online with very limited staff. And one of the main differences that I see in West Maui Community Plan and South Maui Community Plan, the community plan staffing was the same all the way through from the Alakai through to the council. For South Maui, unfortunately, I think many people that worked on the CPAC version are not the same people that it got handed off to on the Maui Planning Commission version. And there were, that presented its own set of challenges, but that's just some of the stuff I wanted to add on. We also did talk yesterday about portions of 2.80B, 0.070 that are a little bit problematic for them to enact or whatever. And, we talked about the potential of amending those so that they're easier to deal with. And I think ultimately it was decided we'd finish out South Maui Community Plan as is and maybe consider amendments to 2.80B going into Central Maui Community Plan, but it was very helpful yesterday to get a process for collaboration with OEV Resources in writing so that we don't run into similar issues with the Central Maui Community Plan. But I didn't want to take up any more of your time. If you have more questions for any of the resources, go ahead.
Jackie, I also wanted to ask you, are you in charge of the Long Range Planning Division?
Yes, I am, Shirley.
Okay, so of course, Bill 9 is going to require a tremendous amount of time and resources from your department. Will that be handled by the current division?
So discretionary permits, yes, are handled by current division, but discretionary permits have to be consistent with the general plan. So we, at Long Range Division staff, will be reviewing those applications for consistency with the general plan documents. So current is the lead, but we are involved, yes, from Long Range Division.
And are you guys still shorthanded or you're up to full complement now?
Okay, I don't want to jinx this or botchy, but knock on wood, I have every cubicle in my office filled, and I'm so thrilled. I have just this amazing team. So it's great right now, but knock on wood that it stays that way. So don't scare them away, please.
Okay. Okay, we'll keep our fingers crossed, and we won't hire them. Thank you.
Yes, and don't steal them away. Thank you.
Thank you.
Member Sinensi?
Just a question for you, Chair. So you're probably not gonna schedule anything until you get the report back from the Planning Commission?
Yeah, if anything, there might be an update to say, like, we've requested committees pause for such and such a time to such and such a time and create a schedule. Like, that's what this meeting would have been if we were going forward in January. So there might be one more update to the process with no action taken, just to, because we can't talk freely outside of a Sunshine Law agendized meeting. It might just be to lay out the schedule and things. I'm hoping when it comes back cleaner than what it was, that it could be, we could potentially go through it within 1 month of like budget style committees. The major factor that is difficult to predict is how much testimony we'll get. And one thing that we thought could mitigate that was have public testimony and recess every other day. So, maybe we won't do anything in one day because we're listening to public testimony all day, but then the next day we could meet and do work. So that was one potential option. And of course, we would break for council meetings during that month. But when we did go over the West Maui Community Plan, it was helpful to meet all at once, so people aren't like, every 2 weeks, oh, where were we again, in only 3 hours. So the idea is to just rip through it in one kind of big chunk. And so there may be another update meeting to just go over logistics of where, when, how, and like that.
Okay, thank you for that. Do we anticipate, or do we know when our 2026 calendar will come up?
That would be maybe a question for Charlie.
Sorry, what was the question?
When the 2026 calendar will come out.
We will not be able to finalize that until we have the meeting on the organization of the standing committees. And once we decide on the standing committees, then we can start, completing the calendar.
Okay, thank
And
you.
by the way, we're hoping to have that special council meeting on January 5th. Yeah, January 5th. So I think all of you were polled. I just wanted to remind you about that.
Thank you.
Second round, any further questions? Member Cook.
Thank you, Chair. I had a question for planning. I don't know to who. There was discussion during the South Maui Community Plan near the end about the departments, I'll just kind of put it out there, I don't know exactly, trying to put the infrastructure projections requirements to a budget. And so it's kind of talking to the different departments. So the North-South Collector Road, wastewater, water development, just highways, all of the different things. So that, I know that when we did the GPAC, that was something that was wanted but never happened. I didn't follow the West Maui Community Plan to know, but I was curious if the planning department is working on that so that when we talk about the South Maui Community Plan, if there's been a discussion with the departments and financial requirements to implement them.
Looks like Director Blystone is coming down to answer that question definitively.
Mahalo, Councilmember Cook, and let me make sure I understand. You want to have dollar assignments to the CIP projects, correct? Yeah.
That are requested / would be implemented with the South Maui Community Plan.
Yeah, thank you for that question. So we do, starting with the West Maui Community Plan, we started putting numbers associated with all of those projects that had a number. I think what's important and what we discussed yesterday, the team discussed yesterday, was putting another clear caveat that these numbers are tied to whatever we think we know at this moment. As you know, CIP projects evolve over time. And so, and as time passes, as things become more expensive, certain materials are not available, which makes them more expensive or less expensive. So every number that's in there should be taken with an extreme grain of salt, but yes. And they're also separated out as Appendix H, if I'm not mistaken, for CIP projects.
Thank you. Sort of follow-up question.
Of course.
Are you working with the departments as far as like with water, public works and them so that their guesstimated prices are coming from them?
Of course, planning is a team sport, and it requires all of the departments working together. So we work closely with them. Also, too, on your annual report that you get from us on our implementation, we go out to all the departments to get their understanding of where they are with each of those projects. So we work very closely with our fellow departments.
Thank you, Director. Thank you, Chair.
Mahalo.
Don't run away. Since he asked that question, I have one question.
Of course.
Will there be a desired population density recommendation?
Mahalo, Chair, for that question. So I think this is one of those things that Jackie was talking about that we just need to be clear on. So so first of all, there's a population number that we're planning for, and that's in the beginning of the document. It's also in the population forecast that goes with the document, just like we did with West Maui. In addition to that, the population density is reflected in the community plan designations. So we know that when you have a transit-oriented corridor, for example, there's a certain population density associated with that, and so on and so forth. So like Jackie said, this is about us clarifying where those things are in the plan, more than creating new things.
Awesome. Anybody else have some questions for a second round? Looks like you covered all your bases.
Mahalo, Chair.
Thank you. So then, if there are no further questions, I would recommend deferral of DRIP 9(3). So I will defer it, and this concludes today's Disaster Recovery International Affairs and Planning Committee meeting. Thank you very much. You are a very agreeable bunch. And as a reward, I'm giving you an hour and 6 minutes free time. The time is now 3:24. This meeting is adjourned.